Where's Pam?
Okay, here we go. 10.
Yes.
5, 3, 2, 1.
Good morning. Welcome to the August meeting of the Las Palmas Grand Residents Association. You're not hearing me. Well, it's right there. How's that? Not yet? I know, but there we are. Is that any better? Not much. Bill, they're not hearing me.
Closer. No.
Hello? I don't want to eat the thing. Good morning. Welcome to the August meeting of the Las Palmas Grand Residents Association. I'm really happy that so many of you are here in person. And I know we have some folks out there watching the YouTube live stream. So we just welcome everybody to this meeting. It's really important that you stay on top of what's happening in your community, and we try to keep you up to date as best we can. So welcome, and if we can, we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Awesome. Okay, if you folks here in person haven't had a chance to get a 50/50 ticket, I suggest you come and see Pam here. They are $1 each or 3 for $2. And it's the only way we can gather money together for the organization, along with our recycling. And hopefully we'll have a report on recycling a little bit later in the meeting. We also have 2 door prizes today for those of you who are in person, and you will get a little ticket sort of out the middle of the meeting before the end of the meeting. Just hang on to that, and we'll draw a name at the end of the meeting for the 2 door prizes. So I will introduce the board members, and I'm Margaret Jacoby, and I'm your president for this year. And on the far end there is Pam Williams. She's our secretary. Peggy Marcone is here, and Peggy is the first vice president. Sue Smith is right here. She's our second vice president. And our treasurer is Walt Smiles, and he is enjoying the cooler weather there in Michigan, so he's not here with us today. Our next order, you should have agendas on your table. If you need another one, we have extra at the table in the front here. But the next order is the July 1st minutes from our meeting. Those are posted on our website as well as sent out to our email list. If you are not on our email list, if you are not receiving messages from us by email, please let us know, and you can sign up by sending an email to lpgraboard@gmail.com and tell us you want to be added to the list, and we'll be happy to include you on. And we don't send out a lot. You won't be bombarded. We send out minutes. We send out announcements of something special that might be going on. Neighborhood Watch has its own email address, but we can fill you in on that when the time comes. So let us know. So as far as the minutes, we don't read them at the meeting. We trust that you've read them either posted or through the email. So I will entertain a motion to adopt the minutes of the meeting from July the 1st. Thank you, Sharon. Second, please. Thank you, Bud. All those in favor? Any opposed? And any abstentions? Excellent. Okay, minutes are adopted. Treasurer's report. In the absence of Walt, I'm going to give you the treasurer's report. The balance as of July the 8th was $775.27. We had no deposits this month, and we had no payments. We did move the bank account from USA Bank over to BMO Harris, And in the process of reconciling that transition, we found an error of $102 negative. So our balance corrected is $672.57. Any questions on that? Okay. And I'm not blaming somebody for the errors. I think over the years, the fact that we never received statements from the US Bank, nobody was keeping really, close tabs. So I'm not sure what the reconciliation is about, but it is corrected now and it will be corrected moving forward. So I'll entertain a motion to adopt the treasurer's report as presented. Thank you. Thank you. A second? Thank you. Any other questions on this? Okay, all those in favor? And any opposed? Okay, any abstentions? Perfect, thank you. Okay, old business on your agenda, you'll see Neighborhood Watch. Sally York is present and she will update us on Neighborhood Watch. So Sally, if you'll come forward, I appreciate it.
Good morning. My name is Sally York, and I'm the volunteer coordinator for the Neighborhood Watch program here. And we're starting afresh this year with it and updating it based on the Mesa Police Department. And then we're working closely with Las Palmas as they reinstitute their Neighborhood Watch program. So we had an information session here in June that was well attended by residents from LPG and Las Palmas. And we received feedback from our residents after that meeting that's helped us quite a bit in moving forward now. We have simplified the forms that were used at that meeting. Because this is such a large community, 840 homes, we have to make this as simple and easy as possible so people are not overwhelmed by participating or supporting the program. So I have a map and I've divided LPG into 81 sections of 4 to 15 homes for street captains to sign up. I have that list with me at the table I'm sitting at. But being a street captain just means knowing who's on your block, knowing who's a snowbird, knowing who's a full-time resident, and knowing what's normal on your block. Normal activity. What is normal activity for the homes surrounding your home? And then if any of your neighbors have a safety concern, just to be aware of that and to be in our communication loop. That's all it means. We are not doing any patrols. The police don't want us doing that. We're simply to serve as the eyes and the ears for the police and for our community. And that means if you see something that does not look right, and the police definition of suspicious activity is something that makes you look twice. It doesn't look right and you look again. If it's a non-resident and some type of activity going on a neighbor's property, you can check with that neighbor, or you can call the police to report anything suspicious, especially after dusk. Activity here in the past has tended to occur after, say, 10 o'clock at night. So please be aware, if you hear anyone in your yard after 10 o'clock and you know it's not your neighbors, please call the non-emergency number or even 911 if you feel there's a crime in progress. We want to improve communication here and keep each other informed and keep our police informed. The more we can inform the police of any suspicious activity or crimes in progress, the more drive-throughs we'll have from the police during the night and the evening hours. So that's kind of the goal of the Neighborhood Watch. And I have an email sign up, like I said, and if anything does occur, we want to give our residents good facts and accurate information. So we have 3 meetings coming up that I think are really important. Tonight at 5:30 at the Superstition Station Police Department, which is right outside the North Gate. You go outside the North Gate on Clubhouse Drive North, and you turn right, and that is our Superstition Station Police Station. It covers about an 8 square mile area. They typically have 16 officers on duty and on any shift at any time. And this station is considered a very, what they call a plum assignment. And this is the station that the mid and late career police try to get transferred to because we're considered such a good area. So we have a new commander at that police station right here, and they're having a community meeting tonight, so you can hear what their current activities are and meet the new commander and meet Dawn Blake, our crime prevention officer that we work with for Neighborhood Watch. And I think it'll be a very informative meeting, especially since they're right next door. The next meeting after that, next Tuesday, we have a Neighborhood Watch committee meeting, and that's just for residents who are interested and concerned and want to have some input or want to keep us updated on anything that we should know about. If we have any concerns brought to our attention in our committee meetings, we pass them on to the board, who then addresses those concerns anonymously with management. So we work under the board, and then they report to management for us if we have any concerns, and that just helps us keep things confidential and anonymous to help more residents, perhaps come forward if we have any safety or security concerns that need to be addressed. Yes, you have a question? Next Tuesday at 3:00 in the card room. In the card room here in the clubhouse. And anyone is welcome to come to that if they have questions or concerns, or want to help us make decisions. I formed a committee because I don't want to be the one making all the decisions. I want residents to make the decisions, and that's you. So anyone who's interested in giving us input and helping us make decisions as we move forward is very, very welcome to that. And you're also welcome to email me or call me if you have any suggestions or concerns that we should be aware of. We've been working together really well. It's been a very, very good committee. Then the last meeting to be aware of is in 2 weeks from this past Monday. On Monday, August 16th, from 3:30 to 5, we're having our first street captain training using our simplified forms and information. We'll have cookies there, if that will help motivate anyone. But that should be a good meeting. And we are in the process of working with Thesman Management to get some type of identification for you to wear if you're a street captain. Las Palmas learned that it's important to have some type of identification so that neighbors you might not have met don't think you're a solicitor. At Las Palmas, they had Neighborhood Watch folks who were reported to the office as being solicitors. So we're trying to avoid that. They're wearing vests over at Las Palmas, bright neon vests for that role. But here we've decided to use lanyards and name badges, for hanging from the lanyard. So we'll have that just in case when you go out to meet any neighbors as a street captain, you can wear that. And we're also looking for co-captains to help support your street captain if they go on vacation. We're hoping that our street captains are full-time residents because we all know the most about what's going on here if we live here full-time. But we're looking for any support, any involvement. Everything is important here. Every input and concern is very important. Any questions? Yes. Oh.
Wait. Because we're live streamed, we have to make sure that we can hear everything. So
Okay,
if you'll
that's right.
repeat the question.
Yes, I forgot about that. So let me take the first question. The street captain meeting is in the card room at 3:30, from 3:30 to 5 on Monday, August 16th. And Marlene? Tonight the question is, what time is the meeting tonight at the Superstition Police Station? And that is at 5:30. And we'll meet our new commander there, and Dawn Blake will be there as well. Any other questions? No? Okay, our committee does meet monthly. If you can only make it to one meeting, that's fine. We're just looking for all and any support and input is welcome. So thank you for your support.
Thank you, Sally. Sally is doing a terrific job with organizing Neighborhood Watch. So we really appreciate her efforts. And of course, as every position here, it's all volunteer. So your support of Neighborhood Watch and support of Sally and the street captains would be very much appreciated. The next item on the agenda is the newsletter. And Sue Smith is our newsletter editor, and she's going to kind of update us a little bit. Sue?
Good morning. There is a quarterly newsletter that the LPG Residents Association puts out. This will be my first one that I've done. And if you have an article, if you were to get it into me today, I believe I could get it into this next newsletter that will be going out by the 15th. And what I would say is, if you have something interesting, you might not think it's interesting, but it might be to other people about a situation or what's going on vacation or even an update. I always pick on ceramics. Perhaps they have something they're doing that they would like to share. Just send it through the email LPGRA, and I will be sure to get it. And if you've got some clean jokes, that would be welcomed. I thought maybe I better put that one word in there. Our stories. So anyway, I hope you enjoy the first one that I put out in the next 2 weeks. Thank you. Yes.
How is that going to be distributed?
Bud is asking how the newsletter is distributed. It is distributed through our email list. We don't have the resources to print them and put them out anywhere. So if you're not on the list, you might want to get there just to get the newsletter. And it's also posted on our website. Again, our website, lpgra.org. If today something pricks your mind, we have these little forms here that you could fill out right today and hand it to Sue. Newsletter goes out on the 15th, so she's got a couple of days to get it in. So if you have anything you'd like to do today, here are the little forms for that. Okay? And thank you, Sue. Do you have anything on recycling?
Yes.
Okay, Sue's going to talk about recycling.
Recycling. A few months ago, management authorized us that we could start a recycling program, although some people were leery of it, but it was approved that we could start aluminum can recycling. And that's what we've been doing for the last 3 months. And what we hope to get started, because it's been approved, is to do plastic bottles, like your water bottles and other bottles that drinks come in. And what we're waiting on now is Alan Smith heads this up, and he's in cooler weather right now. And he's going to be purchasing the big bins for the plastic containers, and we will still be doing aluminum cans also. So stay tuned for September 1st. That's when we hope to get it up and running. And emails will be going out on when it's been started. Yes, Bud?
What is the definition of a plastic bottle that you will accept?
What is the definition of a plastic bottle that will be acceptable? Okay.
I can tell you, it's very narrow. Clear plastic bottles. Water comes in them. Some soft drinks come in them. It's not your milk bottle. It's not a bottle that's colored with a drink in it. It's clear plastic. Now, Coke comes in that. I think Pepsi comes in a clear bottle. It's got to be clear, okay? And Alan is working on that. He's got the go-ahead from management. They've extended some funds for him to buy extra barrels to mark for the clear plastic. So as Sue said, please stay tuned for that. We will announce it, but start saving your clear plastic beverage bottles. Okay? Does that answer that? Thank you. Oh, and one other thing. The aluminum cans have been going really well, except we are finding now and then, we're finding a dog food can or a cat food can or a vegetable can. Those cans are not acceptable. It's only aluminum drink cans. Okay. We've got to keep it narrow because when we had recycling previously, people were throwing their kitchen trash in the recycling barrels and it contaminated the recycling and it all had to go to the landfill. So management decided to halt the whole program. So we've tried to get it back on track and it's very narrow, very limited, but at least it's, you know, we're going in the right direction again. So please be aware. Okay. Any other questions on that? Yes, ma'am.
I know another park collects aluminum cans and they get money for them. And the money is used by the residents for a party or something at the end of the year. But I was wondering if our group gets any recompense for the cans.
Okay, the question is about being reimbursed for collecting the cans, as in other parks do. That is the way we supplement our treasury. We do take the cans to a recycling center, and Alan turns the money in every time he collects, you know, a significant amount. So we didn't have any deposits this month because he's away in cooler weather on vacation. But we have been, I think we've collected maybe around $120, something in that neighborhood. We don't get a lot of money for the cans and the bottles, but it is something. And we are hoping in the future to designate that money to some organization like a veterans group or a children's services group or something within the community. We don't want to give ourselves a party. That's been done in the past, and we get enough parties and activities here in Las Palmas Grand. So we're looking to designate that money, and we're keeping that in a separate accounting to, you know, to make sure we have enough to go forward and make it a significant donation to an organization. If you have thoughts about who that organization might be, give us a heads up. You can send us an email. You can contact any of us by phone. Our phone numbers are listed on the website. It's in the newsletter. You can contact any of us if you have an organization in mind that would benefit from those funds. Bud.
Have you considered the selection of the pop openers off of the cans? Some organizations collect these because this is the only part of the can that is pure aluminum. The can itself has a chemical coating on the inside to prevent corrosion and that on whatever product is in it. And this is actually pure aluminum. It can be broken apart easily and collected separately and turned in as aluminum, where the other is processed as contaminated aluminum.
Bud has just talked to us about collecting the tabs off the aluminum beverage cans, that they have a use that's a little different from the cans themselves. We have not considered that. Our recycler takes the can just as it is, but it is something that we can bring up at the board meeting next week, and we can look into doing that. And but if you have a resource for that, or if it's the same recycler, we'd be happy to get that information. So stay tuned. If that becomes another avenue for collection, we will let you know about that as well. Thank you, Bud. Okay. Remember what I said, that this is your community and we try to keep you informed on what's going on. I want to read what we call our open items list. This is a spreadsheet that we take to the management meeting every month. Things that you tell us are of a concern, we take there. We also take compliments. If there are any compliments that you would like to make as far as management or the staff or, the work that's being done around the community to make it, attractive. We take that as well. We don't get too many compliments, folks. So if you have some, we'd like to hear it. We've got some forms on the table that you can fill out today if you'd like to. You could take it home. You could email it back to us with concerns or compliments that you might have. So this is the latest. And then we're a couple of items on here you'll see will segue into our speakers today. So the first item that we've had on the list for many months is the lease signing. We still don't have a lease here in Las Palmas Grand. I had a new resident come up and ask if there was a way she could get rules and regulations. Those should have been given to her when she signed her lease. Well, there's no lease, so she didn't get any. So none of us have an updated lease, and that's been since December 31st when the current leases have expired. They are on a month-to-month basis. We have been assured by management that no rents will be increased during this interim period and no adverse actions will be taken with regard to the fact that there are no leases. We're still working on those month to month. So we're a little bit upset about that, but it continues to be on the list on a monthly basis. We'll take questions at the end, okay? So that, in fact, we brought up that we felt that management was in violation of the Landlord-Tenant Act, and we were given some excuses or reasons about why they felt they were not in violation, but we're still working on that, and it will stay on the agenda until we get some resolution. We were promised at the last meeting that there was a phone meeting with all the managers and Mr. Thesman that following afternoon, and they would be asking the question on behalf of the residents. I followed up on that to ask what was his response. And the response was he's had some personal issues this year. There have been a lot of changes with the COVID regulations and other issues that he just hasn't had time to finish the review and sign the document. So that's the report that we have on that right now. The next item on our agenda was the water runoff and the wasted water in the community. The reasons we were given about the runoff is that the ground needs a lot of water to soak up because it's been so dry. We have a lot of contours and hills and different kinds of landscaping that the water, when it's sprayed on there, runs off. So they have to run it longer to put more water out to make sure that it's absorbed by the plants on the, on the berms and the hills and the mounds. So they assured us that they are well aware of it. They're testing other kinds of ground cover in other communities, including artificial turf, which the board was not in favor of the artificial turf because of the pets that walk in the area. It would burn their feet in the summertime. It becomes unhygienic over a period of time, has to be washed off all the time. So we felt that for us, it was not a good solution. But they're working on other types of ground cover in all of the Thesman communities. So that's where that stands. It's staying on the agenda until we get some better kind of response. Recycling, I think we pretty much reported to you on recycling. And in management's favor, they granted us a budget of like $120 to buy the barrels and make the signs for the collection containers and the plastic bags that go in there. So they have still honored that, and we can spend up to that $120. So Alan Smith is on top of that and working to get reimbursement for all those materials. But they have become in favor of and supportive of the aluminum cans and clear plastic bottle recycling. So that's a good thing. So we're considering that item closed, and we're taking that off the open items list for next month. The next issue is dogs. That is always on this list because every month we get responses from folks about dogs and the condition of the dog park and the flies that are out there now and the bees that are hanging out in the trees. And so we just keep bringing this up every month and talk to management about how to solve these issues for folks who have dogs and pets. Okay, but we do caution and encourage pet owners to clean up after your pet, please. I know a lot of people walk their dogs on the green belts over here, not just in the dog park, and they leave their messes behind or on somebody's, they're walking past their neighbor and their dog makes a mess there and they're not cleaning it up. So we're asking dog owners to please, please, please keep up after your dog. It's for the benefit of the whole neighborhood. So that stays on the agenda all the time. And then we had an issue come up about the new fee if you're selling your home privately. And we were told that the new fee is $400 if you sell your home not through Las Palmas Grand's real estate office. And so we asked what that was covering. And we were told that it was all the paperwork that has to be done in relation to a sale, vetting the buyer, the prospective buyer, doing the background check and the credit check, and doing the inspection of the home that's being sold to make sure that if there are any additions to the home, like fencing and that kind of thing, that are in violation of the rules and regulations, that they're inspected and being asked to remove those items, and that the home is in good repair when it's passed on to the new buyer. So we were told that. So we closed that item. Then we reopened that item in July because in reading the Landlord Tenant Act and changes to the rules and regulations, we decided that nobody got notice about that. Nobody received an email or a piece of mail to say, hey, this is the new regulation if you're going to sell your house. So we put it back on the agenda and brought it up to management. What we were told was June of 2015, a memo was issued to all residents instituting the management's prerogative to charge a fee if they thought it was necessary. And they're relying on the memo of June 2015 to cover the fact that they've adjusted the rules and regulations to charge this fee. Well, this is going to stay on the open items list because we were never informed. Who lived here in 2015? How many of you lived here in 2015? Okay, not very many. And maybe you don't even remember getting that memo. So we're still keeping this on the agenda because we really need to press about why this fee is being instituted without appropriate notification to the residents. Next item, Bill Harrison's events. How many of you are aware that you cannot buy a ticket to attend Bill Harrison's event without buying the meal that goes along with it? Okay. In the past, you could buy a ticket just to attend the event at a lower price to cover the cost of Bill coming out and doing his thing. We've gotten a number of those forms and phone calls, and I'm including myself in this. I don't eat the type of meals that they serve. There are people with health issues who have dietary restrictions who can't attend eat some of those meals. And there are some of us who don't eat meat, and every meal has meat, and we don't choose to have that. So I used to buy my ticket just to hear Bill Harrison. Well, that's not going to be permitted anymore. Now, the reason we were told is that Bill has raised his prices. That's okay. Charge us $1 more. You know, it's really okay. Also, Nancy Inactivities has stated no one has come to her office or contacted her that they were unhappy with the new arrangement. So our comment, our position with the board is we take these complaint forms, concern forms, so that people don't run into your office. Whoa, that's a fly. That is that fly. That people don't go into your office and bombard you with these kinds of questions. We're bringing it to your attention. But apparently that is not acceptable. So I'm going to say, if you're not happy, call activities or send them an email, because we have advocated on your behalf, and it's not changing at this point. So that's going to stay on our agenda for a little bit. That's Bill Harrison. Street resurfacing, there were a lot of complaints about the quality of street resurfacing. Management admitted that they did a poor job, and they were calling them back to repair all the places that, where they did a sloppy job. So if you still see a sloppy job on the street resurfacing, let us know. We'll bring it up again. Sinkholes on the properties. We had a complaint that the person called the office and we're told we don't do that anymore. And that's not correct. Todd is the manager of operations and landscaping and construction and all of that. He wants to know. So don't call the office, call the construction office. Talk to Todd or somebody in construction. He wants to know when there's a sinkhole. They want to come out. If it's result of your watering system or a re-landscaping, something like that, they will not take care of it. But if it's because of the settlement of the houses and other issues, they will take care of those sinkholes. But he's got to know about it first. So don't call the office, call construction. Okay? We had a complaint that the guards are absent from the front gate. We know that. They do their rounds, their inspections, especially in the evening. Every resident should have a code that opens that gate. So if you have a guest who's coming and they arrive and the guard isn't there, you can give them your code and they can push the buttons and enter. If it's you, your clicker that opens Guadalupe and Pollard back here opens that gate as well. So if you're there and the gates are closed, the guard's not there, use your little remote clicker. If you don't know what your code is for the keypad, call the office and they will give you your code. We had someone talk to us about a system called One Call Communications, where if there's an emergency, one call can be made to everyone to tell you what the emergency is and whether you need to do something to protect you or your home. Corinne is a vice president over there in the construction office, and she did tell us she would do some research into that and see what systems might be out there to take care of that. And I think I'm going to ask Neighborhood Watch to also keep that on your agenda and work with Corinne to see if there is some type of communication system that would notify everyone in one call or maybe just a couple of calls. So we're going to keep our eye on that one as well. Bollard light panels, we had a resident tell us that she was notified one day that her bollard light panels were in and she should come pick them up, and they were $17. She said she was never given notification that she needed to replace those panels or that the work was being done. So we did reinforce that. Please make sure the residents are notified. They told us you should get three pieces of communication from the office when your bollard light either needs to be repainted or some of the new panels faded very quickly with the logo on it. And so they were asking that they be replaced. If that's the case, you don't want to pay for that because that was their purchase, was management's purchase. If it has failed, we want them to take care of that. If it's just because your numbers are old and they're fading, that is the resident responsibility. But they should be notifying you at least 3 times before they purchase the replacement panel and charge you for it. So if you run into that situation, let us know. Okay. And then communication. We were asked by Todd, especially Todd Lutz, to indicate that Management is open to communicating with residents. They want you to contact them. They want you to make your, your concerns known. They don't want you just to depend on the board bringing something up. That's perfectly fine. You can feel free to call them at any time, but we've gotten a lot of pushback that the responses have been negative, or they've been rude, or they've been ignored. So feel free to contact management, and feel free to continue to give us feedback on that situation. Okay? That's all I have on open items list. I'll take questions for open items at the open portion of the meeting, because we want to move on to our speakers who are here sitting through this portion of the meeting. So Sue Smith is our representative, or our liaison with AMHO. So Sue, if you'll introduce the speakers who are here today, we'd appreciate that. Thank you.
AMHO. It's several letters put together, and it means Arizona Association of Manufactured Homeowners. It represents people that own park models, manufactured homes, and RV owners that are on leased land in the state of Arizona. It has been in operation since 1987. It is also a nonprofit organization. It represents all of us here because we fit that classification, as we have manufactured homes. Today with us, we have Eileen Green, who is the president of AMHO, who's going to speak with us. And she also brought along with her Janice Burnett, who is the legislative director. And I'm sure that they will stay over, and you can ask them a lot of questions at the end of this meeting. But now let's give a warm welcome to Eileen Green.
Good morning, everyone. It's nice to see your smiling faces. I did want to introduce also Pat Sunia, who is the district director for this district that you're in. And Pat Sunia would come to all your meetings. And she's a wonderful person to invite because she knows a lot of this information. Yes, AMHO has been here for a long time, and we do several things. Our main goal is legislation. And then we have our co-partner, which is AMPRO, that we do the education. So I wear two hats. I'm the president of AMHO, but I'm also the education director for the sister partner, AMPRO. So we can come to your park and give you classes on the Landlord-Tenant Act so you know what your rights and responsibilities are. Because the law is for both. It's for landlords and it's for tenants. It's one law. I also am certified to teach the manager certification to managers in parks. So it's helpful to know both sides of the fence. And it's very helpful for us to be able to answer or hopefully recommend resolutions if you have issues. So I think our most important part today, I will turn over to our legislative director, Janice Burnett, because part of our most important part is what we take to legislation every year. And I want you to know about it and how important it really is.
Thank you for inviting us. It's wonderful to be here. You have a beautiful park. Very, very nice. As Eileen said, AMHO's number one function is to be your eyes and ears at the Arizona legislature. Do you know what legislative district you live in? No responses? You want to guess? I mean, there are 30 legislative districts in Arizona, and you're in District 16. Do you know who your state senator is? Okay, that's a lady named Senator Kelly Townsend. Okay, she is in the Senate. She represents, she's a Navy veteran, a mother, and a small business owner. Now you have 2 House of Representative members. You know who those are? This is a test in government affairs, okay? You have John Fillmore, who's an Army vet, owner of the Weather Shack in Mesa. Anybody familiar with the Weather Shack in Mesa? I think it's a home improvement type store of some type. And he's a real estate broker. The other person is Jacqueline Parker. She has a degree in classical literature. I'm sure we all do too. And philosophy, okay? Plus she is a lawyer. So she's worked in private practice, and she was a legal advisor to the Corporation Commissioner Justin Olson. So those are 3 people that AMHO would like you to get acquainted with, because it helps us out tremendously if these folks know that you care about the Landlord-Tenant Act, because they're the ones responsible for making changes at the state level that affect you and I. My 3 folks down in Tucson care about me. Your 3 folks up here could care less about me, but they care about every voter in their district. So believe it or not, you have tremendous power that you probably haven't thought you possessed, but you actually do. You have a voice. They don't hear from many constituents. The chances of them, any one of the 3, really knowing anybody that lives in a manufactured home is probably limited. So you'll be a novelty to them. They'll love you because they do want to hear from constituents. So I have brought cheat sheets for you so that you can actually contact these people sometime between now and the 2nd week in January. They start the session the 2nd week in January. We, AMHO, will be preparing our legislative agenda for 2022, starting in September. So we're also interested in ideas that you might have that we would like to work on. The Landlord-Tenant Act is our major piece that we're always looking at. We want to make sure that works for you the best humanly possible way. That includes some of the things you mentioned today, because we want to fill in any loopholes as much as possible so that you don't have issues like that in the future. I wouldn't say any questions in particular, but please make an attempt. Send them an email, call them, something, introduce yourself, let them know you're a resident in their district, you're a voter in their district. Doesn't matter if you're Republican or Democrat. These 3 are all Republicans. Let them know that if something comes up at the legislature that involves manufactured housing, you want to be a voice for your community as well as manufactured homeowners. We're unique, you know. We own our home, but we don't own the land. And that's very different from most constituents that they're used to dealing with. It's usually, you know, you own the house, you own the land. What's the big deal? Well, this is a very big deal because you have to work daily with management. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. We are not your attorneys, though. Don't ever start thinking of us as your legal beagle who's going to run to court for you. No, we don't do any of that. But we do spend a lot of time with the legislature. We actually have a full-time lobbyist that we engage. It's called Arizona Policy Group, and they do a fabulous job. But again, we need boots on the ground, people who know legislators, willing to talk to them. And don't be afraid of them. They're just humans like the rest of us with issues, but they want to hear from constituents, and they don't know our issues until you share that. And if you find yourself where you're going to have a meeting with one and you feel insecure, call us. One of us will join you, you know, to help out. You might even consider inviting them from time to time to one of your meetings, because oftentimes they will do that because they love to have the exposure, you know, vote for me is what they're really saying, but they're still there to hear your issues. So consider that as one of your programs that you might have during the year, especially when they're out of session. This session this past year lasted forever. We did manage to pass a very good caregivers bill that matches the federal law. So that all bills here go into effect September 29th is when they go into effect. However, that caregiver bill piece federally has been in effect for a number of years. So that was a big plus for AMHO. And again, we work on pieces of legislation every year. There are 90 members in the House and Senate here in Arizona. We want to have at least 90 AMHO members knowing these people and working with these people because that's what it takes to be effective. I'm going to throw in a plug that you didn't say. We have a nonprofit group in case you have some money that you want to donate for education, and that's what AMPRO is for. So when you talked about that, it's like, yoo-hoo, we're here. We can use all the help you can give us. We have membership apps. If you're not a member, I'm assuming all of you are good AMHO members, right? Okay, look at those hands. Woohoo! Yay! They're up here. Please join us. It's probably the best $35 investment you'll ever make because it really does go for you, every cent. We're volunteers. We don't get paid for the drive up from Tucson, and we bought our own McDonald's coffee. So we're very conservative in that sense. Thank you. Any questions, let us know. Yes, sir.
But we're gonna ask you to hold your questions till the open portion, okay?
That'll
But
work.
thank you. Yeah. Good.
I want to thank the ladies coming here and sitting through all of our meeting. And we do have literature up here about AMHO. And what they didn't mention is it seems like what I've read on a lot of their brochures is cooperation, not confrontation. And I think if all of us went into situations with that kind of a mindset, we might get someplace a little better than what sometimes happens. So just remember that. And I think it's a very good model they have.
Great, thank you. And I also want to extend our appreciation for everybody coming up from Tucson. And we'll be having some of that information for you at the end. And when we open up the floor, you can ask the questions that you would like. And if there's something that's like particularly pertaining to your situation, you might want to ask the representatives after the meeting, okay? So I do want to say a couple more things before we go to open portion. We are having AMPRO come here to do a 2-hour training on the Landlord Tenant Act, October 28th from 9 to 11 here in the ballroom. More information will be sent out to folks as the time gets closer. But we want you to know that I've been to 2 of these trainings, and it's very valuable information for you to know what your rights and responsibilities are under this law in Arizona. So please put October 28th on your calendar from 9 to 11, and we will provide more information as it gets a little closer. The other thing I want to start your minds churning is the elections for new board members coming up in November. We're starting to look for candidates right now. There are 2 open positions on the board. So if you're interested at all, I do have some forms here that if you want to get a jump start and find out what you need to do, what you need to say, what we would like to know about you, I can give you those. And Pam is the chair of our nominating committee. So see Pam about your interest in becoming a member of the board or standing for election in November. For those people who aren't here in November, we have absentee ballots that we distribute beginning October the 14th. They will be on the website available. They can be emailed to you. And so you can vote by absentee. And we have a little box that we'll put in the activities office. That's a sealed box that you can drop your absentee ballot if you're going to be out of town on that date, and we will collect those prior to the meeting in November. So keep that in mind for elections for board positions. Okay, that's what I have on the agenda. I will open the floor for questions. There's a microphone right in the middle of the floor. We would really appreciate you stepping up to the mic so we don't have to repeat your questions. But if you can't make it to the mic, that's okay. We'll repeat the question for you. So Bud, you had something. Can you get up there, son?
My voice is fairly loud anyway, but question for both the AMHO and you, Margaret. Is there in place a means by which AMHO lets the local organizations be aware of what legislative questions are up for a vote or discussion, such that we can provide information back to her? We don't know, as an individual, we don't know what is going on before the legislature. So it would be nice if AMHO provided at least a periodical publication or direct communication with the local organizations, such that she could contact you, Margaret, and then you could distribute within us. But I didn't know if there is anything in place like that right now or not.
Bud, good question. We do get a newsletter from AMHO that I do send out to our email list. If you're a member of AMHO, you'll get it yourself. But Rebecca, go ahead.
And if we have alerts, which we have during sessions, we send them to all the members to respond to their legislators. Sometimes it's a committee that's where it's only like 6 or 7 people in the committee, so you don't have to contact 90 people or anything. The major thing is to contact your own people, but yes, we send out alerts. And it's all done like you do through email, because there's not time in the legislature to literally mail you something or wait for a newsletter, because it happens just like this. So if you get one of our alerts, it means immediate response, like within 12 hours response, because things move really, really quick. So yes, we certainly, the more names we can have, the more members, the better we are.
Yes, I do send the newsletter out, and if I get an alert, I'll send that out as well. Thank you. Anybody else? Marlene?
I have a comment that you made about the increase in rent when we don't have a lease, and that the leases were up on, I believe you said December 31st. My rent went up on January 1st. And
Well, you were notified in October that your rent was going to go up, so they did notify us within that time frame.
oh, so that's
Yeah,
how that was
But if
covered.
there were another increase coming now, we
Okay.
don't, I don't know how we'll deal with that.
Okay, that answers that question.
Right.
Okay, and we were, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
My question, secondly, then might be for AMCO, if you can answer this. How much at risk are we without a lease if Desmond were to sell the property? Would we be new owners? What stand would we have as far as them coming in to say, well, we're not going to have a park here anymore? Maybe that's unrealistic, but I think it perhaps is an issue when you don't have a lease.
I did ask that question at the management meeting, and we were assured that Mr. Thesman has no plans to sell the park, the community, that it has been in their family since inception, and they intend to keep it in their family. But we did let them know that people have anxiety around the fact that we don't have a lease. And that was one of the big points. So we did make them aware, and that message was passed on to Mr. Thesman at that management phone call that afternoon. And as I said, I don't have anything further from them on that. Anyone else? Please state your name. I forgot to ask you to do that.
Mike Cherokee. I think this is for Eileen. I understand you have a relationship with some roofers, and Peggy had a good experience. Can can you tell me how many roofers are assigned to Las Palmas Grand? How many do the work here?
1 second. Yeah, 1 second. Dennis, who was here this morning at Jabba Time,
Yeah.
is not associated. He does support AMHO. He's not like an approved roofer. He just runs this business and offers this service to folks. Any roofer that you contact to do your work has to put their application in over there to do your roof, over to the construction office, and they either approve it or they don't. But there's not a list of approved roofers. And Dennis, what Dennis does is if he does your roof here, he contributes your first year membership fee to AMHO because he feels like it's an important organization, but he's not part of AMHO and not like an approved roofer.
Okay. Maybe Peggy?
Don't say, Peggy, you have to come up here.
As you know, we had our roof done by him. We have no complaints whatsoever about the work that he did. And looking at our insurance and explaining everything to us to make sure that we were properly insured. And we are currently, but we weren't before we talked with him. We had just changed insurance because we did and found out that the previous company was not, we got one of those package deals where we had enough insurance to cover stuffing our house with stuff from end to end. And we have an 1,800 square foot house here. So, I mean, it was a ridiculous amount, saved us a lot of money by switching. But he was aware of that and brought it to our attention. The other thing I wanted to say is that he is registered with the Better Business Bureau. And I have not heard anyone yet complain about him. I know that he is very much in support of AMHO. And so that's another plus in my book.
And then he must be registered with the construction office?
Yes, he
Okay.
is. Thesman Communities do not recommend anyone for any type of work on your home. The liability is way too high for something like that. So they have names of people that do work in here, but they don't recommend anyone for anything, not plumbing or paving or anything.
But they
painting.
have to be approved by the construction office?
They have to be allowed in here, and he has no problem in here at all.
Okay.
He's in here a lot. So,
Thanks.
okay.
Great, thank you. Somebody else have a question? Wait a minute, Bud, just a minute. Someone's behind you.
Christine Farrell, as a 3 weeks resident here, I have not received the rules and regulations. So do I go to the office to get that?
They probably won't give it to you right now because they're under significant revision. So you can ask for the ones that are currently in existence, but you will not get the revised rules and regulations.
Thank you.
Mhm. Anyone? Just line up behind the mic. It's fine.
Catherine Skinner, I've been here about a month. They won't give you the old ones either. I've groveled and nothing. So if we're in error, they can't fine you. They can just tell you.
And many years ago,
Tell us
My
your
wa-
name.
my name
please.
is Pete Camper on 323. Many years ago, when we were on vacation, my wife and I, we left our teenage kids at home, and my daughter assured me there were no parties going on. That's, to me, is the equivalent of the Thesman people saying, we're not planning on selling this property. The question I have is what happened with one of the parks on Indian land. The Indian community decided to sell that land underneath the people who live there. What is AMHO's position, or is there a position in law right now that covers the residents of this community if Mr. Thesman passes tomorrow and his heirs say, well, we're going to sell this?
Yes. Eileen's going to step up and give you the best answer she can.
there's no law about selling the property. The only thing that you have protection on is if they have a change in use. In other words, if Mr. Thesman decides to sell the property to a construction company that decides they're going to put condominiums in here or apartments or a golf cart, a golf course, excuse me, there is funds called the relocation fund, which we have $60 million in right now that are a part of your services. And you can apply for funds to move to another 55 and older community in this area. So you are actually covered if they change the use of the property. There's no protection if they change the ownership. But in the law, ownership, the new ownership takes effect with the rules and everything that's in effect of the current people. So the current owners, when they sell, their laws will, those laws or rules and regulations will stay in effect until the new owner gives a new rental agreement, a lease, and rules and regulations. Does that answer your question? Okay, thank you.
The answer is Isabel, as best as you can. It's kind of nebulous, but there it is. Any other questions or comments or concerns, Bud?
Just a brief comment. The original roof put on your house is a 20-year roof. Look up when your house was built and figure out what today's date applies.
Well, yeah, what Dennis does.
You may really want to rethink about it.
Yeah, you probably should. What Dennis does is looks for storm damage only. He doesn't look at how old your roof is. He looks for, we had a storm in June that qualifies, if you have damage from that, it qualifies for a claim. There was a storm in September 2 years ago, and you have 2 years to file claims on storms like that. So he's well versed in what storms have happened and which storms, damage from those storms would qualify for repair replacement.
Just a word of advice.
Tell us your name, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm Sharon Hauser. I recently had my roof replaced. I have standard insurance. I called them because I noticed some little pieces of the tile on the ground. They came out, inspected it, told me that yes, I needed a complete replacement. The only thing I had to pay for was my deductible. No questions were asked. A brand new roof for my deductible.
Thank you. It gives us all like some hope. Any other questions or comments or anything that was on the agenda, not just about the leases and AMHO, but anything that we talked about thus far? Okay, perfect. I'm going to adjourn the meeting, but those of you who are here, you have your 50/50 tickets. We'll draw for that, and we have the 2 door prizes. But folks on YouTube, we'll say goodbye and thank you for attending, and I'll entertain a motion for adjournment. Marlene, thank you. Anybody else? Anybody opposed? Meeting is adjourned. Thank you so much. Okay, now.